Hi everyone, I'm Vince and welcome to my channel Vince Cooper Games. I'm going to be starting off another playthrough of my solitaire wargame Bloody Lane, which covers the Union attack against the Confederate regiments down here in Bloody Lane. I'll go through it turn by turn and I'll try and break down as many of the rules as possible that I can. So Bloody Lane is available from Amazon and Wargame Vault. This is an early version of the print rulebook. So you can get it from Amazon Print, Amazon Kindle, or Wargame Vault. The files that you need can be downloaded from Board Game Geek. Search for Bloody Lane BGG. But I'm also doing the playthrough partly as to clarify the rules and so on, but also to show off our new components box. So Shane has done a fantastic job. The Bloody Lane components box is now available from GameCrafter in the US. Does not include the rulebook, so you need to get the components box and a separate rulebook to be able to play the game. So let's crack on with the playthrough. We'll start off with turn one. The Union are going to advance from the north down to the south. They're going to attempt to shatter one of these Confederate regiments, which means that the cohesion value, which starts at 5, will be reduced down to 0. When it's at 0, you're going to flip the counter, so the 4th North Carolina are now shattered, and that will allow a Union regiment to enter Bloody Lane, at which point the game is finished and the player is defeated. And we'll see how that plays out. There are various difficulty levels. I'm going to play on the regular difficulty level with the player sheet. And let me just show you in the rulebook quickly. There is also this page here. So this is the number of Union counters destroyed. So the Confederate player is not only trying to defend Bloody Lane, the Confederate player is also trying to destroy a minimum number of Union regiments in order to ensure the overall victory. There was a lot more going on that isn't reflected in the game, so the number of Union counters to be destroyed also needs to be done in order to protect it. So we're looking here at the regular level. So a draw will be 8 regiments destroyed. A minor victory will be 9. A major victory will be 10 or more. I would say historically, the veteran difficulty level is probably closer to what happened historically. So the battle for Bloody Lane did come down to the 4th wave, which is when the veteran regiments did enter the battle. But we're going to play at the regular level, which is where probably most people start. So draw is 8, minor victory is 9, major victory is 10 or more. So let's get into the game. This is turn 1. Sequence of play is up here on the player sheet. Okay, the supply phase. So this is the supply lane. Okay, the forces are going to be, the supplies are going to be coming historically from south to north. We have different supply tokens, orders, ammunition, and reinforcements. Orders tokens are unlimited. Ammunition tokens are strictly only 5. Reinforcement tokens strictly only 3. And there's no need to send any ammunition or reinforcements at the moment. So we're going to put an orders token here on box S1. That's going to travel each turn to the right before it's resolved. So that's all we need to do right now in turn 1 for the supply phase. Okay, reset Confederate artillery phase. If you fired in the previous turn, you would have placed this larger token over the artillery tokens, so you would now remove that. But as it's turn 1, there's nothing to do there. So we can skip past the reset Confederate artillery phase. Next is the Confederate artillery phase. Again, not much happening in turn 1, but the basic choice you have as the Confederate player is that you can fire against the Union artillery. Okay, you've got Tompkins battery here, Tidball's battery over there. Tidball can never be attacked, but the Confederates can fire against Tompkins. Tidball historically was much further to the east on the opposite bank of the Antietam Creek. However, if you fire against the Union artillery will use counter battery fire and try to destroy the Confederate artillery. And the Union artillery, of course, follows the historical precedent, which is that they are stronger. So you're taking a risk there. The other thing you can do is hold fire. If you choose to hold fire, the Union artillery, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are also left, center, and right batteries in Tidwell's unit there, they will all direct their fire against the supply line. That's not going to be relevant again in the first turn, but as the game progresses, you'll see why that's important. So down here, the orders token has a dash, a 2, a 2 to 3. So when it's in the left side box S1, the target number for the Union would be a dash. It's nothing, they can't be hit. If you compare that to a reinforcement token, you can see here the number is 2 to 3. The next turn, when the orders go to box S2, the target number would be 2. The target number for the reinforcements would be 2 to 4. Box S3, orders would be 2 to 3. This is on 2d6. Reinforcements would be 2 to 5. So in box S1, the orders are safe. So I'm going to hold fire, knowing that the Union cannot attack cannot effectively attack the orders token here in box S1. So nothing to do in turn 1 of the Confederate artillery phase. So next is the Union artillery phase. So like I said, we're holding fire. The Union normally would attack, but because the orders token is in box S1 and there's a dash, there's no target number. If it was in box S2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Union guns would now fire with a target number of 2 on 2d6, but nothing to resolve there. So that's the end of the Union artillery phase. Next is the Union event phase. This is the Union event table. We're going to roll 4d6. Column A dictates the events for turns 1 to 5 and 11 to 15. Column B dictates the events, Union events, turns 6 to 10 and 16 to 20. So as we resolve each Union event, we're going to write down the current turn number in the relevant column just to keep track of how many Union events we have resolved, which will be 4 each turn. We're going to resolve the events and see what we get. So let's just move this to one side. So again, just quickly, this is the Bloody Lane components box available for Gamecraft. Okay, so I'm going to remove that now and get the dice tower set up. So let's just shift this over here. Okay, so 4d6 4 times for 4 different Union events. I'll move that down a little bit to make sure that you can see it. Okay, so Union event number 1. Okay, that's a, what's that, a 15. So we take a look down here, column A, 15 is a reform action. Okay, currently there are no Union counters on the game board, so the reform would normally give the Union counters a free reform action, which is a cohesion check to restore cohesion, but we're going to get the Union counters going in the next phase, so nothing to resolve there. But that's the first Union event taken care of. Second Union event, that's a 15. Okay, interesting. So we just resolved the reform, so we've written 1 in the column, so we go to the next higher number, which is 16. This is in column A light fire event. Let's just put turn 1 down there. Okay, so light fire. Okay, select a target Confederate regiment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 is a reroll, and then roll another 1d6. 1 is reduce cohesion by 1. It has been pointed out to me again, thanks to Shane and for pointing this out, that actually it's a bit redundant to roll for the target because the attack may not hit. So we're going to skip past that. If we roll a 1, then we will determine the target. So a little revision there to save some time from the rulebook. So a 1 is going to be a hit, and we get a 4, which is a miss. So that is Union event number 2. Union event number 3, we get a 10. 10 is a skirmisher event, so the skirmishers are going to attack the officers up here. You start off with 4 officers. It's reduced from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. If it goes down to 0, no officers left. This will not be apparent of how important this is at this stage in the game, but the number of officers determine the number of inspire actions that you can take in order to restore cohesion for your Confederate regiments. So the lower number, the more, the less able you are to reform your own Confederate regiments. So again, this is a skirmisher event. The details are down here. Roll 1d6, 1, reduce the officer value by 1. So 1d6, and we get a 3, so no effect. So that's the third Union event. Fourth Union event and final one for turn 1, and we get a 10. Quite bizarre. Okay, so same thing. We just resolve this one, so we go to the next highest number, which is a light fire event in column A. Put a 1 down there. So again, light fire is roll 1d6. If it's a result of 1, determine the Confederate target. So let's see what we get. And it's a 4, so no effect. So just quickly, as I said, we're playing at the regular difficulty level here with the player sheet. So as there are easier versions and there are harder versions, and as it gets easier, the severity of the Union event is decreased. As it gets harder, it increases. So you start getting kind of like artillery attacks, which are more likely to inflict more damage on the Confederate regiments. So that's the Union event phase is finished. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 events that have been resolved. So next is the Union action phase. There currently are no Union counters on the game board, so we can skip past that in turn number 1. Okay, removed exposed tokens phase. So an exposed token looks like this. We'll cover this later on in the game. An exposed token gives a +1 cohesion bonus to a Confederate counter when it's attacking, but any Union counter that attacks it also gets a +1 bonus. So if there were any exposed tokens attached to any Confederate counters, we would now remove them. But again, turn number 1, nothing's happened yet, so we can skip past that. So that's the removed exposed tokens phase. Okay, so next is the Union deployment phase. So Union forces will attack in 4 waves, and they get harder as each phase continues. The first 2 waves were kind of comprised of kind of rookie regiments. Third wave started to get a little bit harder, and the 4th wave was the Irish Brigade, who were a bunch of hard workers. So you can imagine what I'm saying there. So turn 1, 4, 8, and 12. So turn 1, we're going to roll for deployment. The information is down here, but just to make it a little bit clearer, I've isolated it here and blown it up a little bit. So we're going to roll 1d6. Wave 1 is 1st Delaware, Maryland, New York. Okay, so we're going to roll 1d6. This is going to tell us column A, B, C, or B, C, D, and so on. So let's see what we get. Okay, we get a 3. Okay, so let's place that down here. So the 1st Delaware will enter column C, attack track C. 5th Maryland, attack track D. And the 4th New York, attack track E. So okay, first Delaware, attack track C. 5th Maryland, attack track D. And 4th New York, attack track E. So you can see W1 indicates wave number 1. And like I said, these are rookie regiments, so their cohesion is 2 compared to the Confederate regiments with a cohesion of 5. So wave 1 has now entered play, and they will start to advance from turn 2 onwards. So that concludes the Union deployment phase. Confederate action phase. Okay, I haven't suffered any damage, and I don't want to fire at this extreme range. I'm going to suffer a -2 penalty, so to attack I would need to roll a modified cohesion of 3, so 3 or less. There's only a 50% chance of hitting, so I'm going to wait until they're a little bit closer. I haven't suffered any damage, so I don't need to use Inspire to regain cohesion. So again, turn 1, nothing to do in the Confederate action phase, which brings us to the end of turn phase. At this point I would remove any tokens that need to be done. So there's no smoke token, so nothing to worry about there. So that concludes turn number 1. So turn number 1 is complete. I'll mark that off there. I'll stop the video here, and then we'll come back and do turn number 2 in the next video. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in turn 2.